right, let's go on to the best practices spotlight. If we um, have any other questions, we will take those at the end. So just kind of to give you an overview, because it is sort of a new feature of Accudemia. The reason that we decided to implement this is that because before this module, there wasn't an easy way to like really track those kinds of things in Accudemia. You could send messages, but it wasn't like a fully integrated sort of module. So we created this module to make saving templates easier, sending large emails, and of course tracking the results of those emails to try to see, are these emails having an effect on your numbers, on the amount of students who come in, on the success of students, on their awareness of your services, all that good stuff. There's you might already be thinking about some of the ways you can use this, but I just have a few ideas that I wanted to share with you all. The first use case would be student engagement and awareness, making the students aware of your services. Most campus resources, I don't know if this has been y'all's experience too, but from my experience, most campus resources tend to suffer from underuse, not from a lack of services. And if they were used more, that would correlate positively to the ability to offer more services. So there's better outcomes for the students to use them, and there's better outcomes for your area as well. The usage metrics for your area are often tied to funding and staffing justification. So if you already have access to this module, there's no reason not to try it out to send emails to students to try to get them more aware of what's going on. I cannot tell you the number of times when I was working in higher ed, when I was running a tutoring center, how many students would say to me, like, I didn't even know your center was here. Some faculty would even say this to me. And so a tool like this offers a more proactive way to do that outreach. So this would be something that would be sent to all students, or at least to all students who qualify for your resources. So if you, for example, have a TRIO center or a center that serves a specific population, of course, there's not necessarily reason to send it to all students, but I would still kind of do these campaigns pretty broadly. So some examples might be, how can we help you email, or how we can help you emails at the start of the semester, mid-semester reminders of your services before exams or any major deadlines that apply to a large number of students, spotlights of different services that you offer that students may not be aware of, and then of course finals week support, any additional or general support that you offer during finals week, where students are often stressed and wanting some extra help there. And then another potential use case would be targeted outreach to specific student groups. So now we're getting into a little more narrow for the students of who you're reaching out to. So targeting some high needs groups, and that's going to look different for every center. Students are more likely to find these messages relevant. One thing I hear from clients a lot is that students are already receiving a bunch of emails. So the key is you want to get their attention by sending them timely information that is relevant for them as much as you can. So some examples might be sending them to first-year students who specifically have been identified as struggling in gateway courses, students who are on academic probation, students who are enrolled in specific courses that that you specifically help with, that for whatever reason students are not getting the help that they need, or targeting online learners versus in-person learners. Those might be receiving those two groups might receive two different types of messaging depending on the best way for them to access your services. And then communicating to faculty and staff. You do not have to limit yourself to just reaching out to students. And I think building those relationships with faculty and staff from other related areas it is so important, and it's something that I personally wish that I had done more working in higher ed. So the ability to send out these communications regularly, clearly, and consistently increases trust. It puts you top of mind for them. So when they have students who need your services, or when they have need of your services, they know exactly where to go. And at some larger institutions, that is really important. So examples might be reminding faculties about your referral process, like how they can refer students to you and what happens after the student is referred. Updates on any tutoring availability or hours. If you get a new tutor for a course that a faculty member teaches, letting them know about that could be really valuable. Any end of term highlights, like any statistics that might be interesting to them, any events that you put on that you want to highlight for faculty, so they can be more involved in that potentially next time. And then again, requests for collaboration or classroom announcements. So letting them know, like, hey, if you can spread the word about us, we would really appreciate that, and giving them the tools and the means to do so. This can be a really good use of that emailing tool. And then finally, using the email campaigns to promote events or any programming that you have. We already have um, a event module in Accudemia, so this can work very well in relation to that. So using the campaigns to let people know, like, hey, here's the event coming up, here's why you should attend, and here's how you can attend, where to go, how to sign up for it, what you need to do what you need to do to prepare for it, if anything. So this is going to help encourage the higher attendance at these events, getting you a better ROI on programming. I hear from clients all the time, yeah, we put on workshops, but we only get a couple of students there. So I think that using this tool that you already have in Accudemia could be a really good way to spread awareness and at least see if that is going to get you some higher numbers. So you could advertise upcoming workshops or seminars. You can also, any changes in your programming, like temporary changes to your hours, if you have any new services or resources that you want students to be aware of and taking advantage of. So that's just some ideas that are kind of bouncing around in my head, but I do have some actual real world examples of how you might use the email campaigns based on what actual clients of Accudemia are doing. I have a couple of videos and then a quote to read you. So the first step is going to be some folks from Antelope Valley College. Let me go ahead and open this. One second. All right. Hi, Chaz and Vaughn. Thank you so much for joining me today. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how the email campaigns in Accudemia are used in your center at Antelope Valley.
Sure. Vaughn, do you want to give the overarching view of how we use it?
Yeah. So I've been tasked um, with outreach, just trying to get students into the Learning Center to see our tutors. And so I've been using the email campaigns as a targeted outreach. I just have like a blurb like, hi, your name. We hope your sociology class is going really well. If you need tutoring, these are our locations. These are our specific times that we have tutors for your sociology class. Come on in. And I've been scheduling those to go out at certain times of the semester when, around midterms, around finals, and it just kind of auto sends to the students who are in that sociology class. And we've seen that this has been helping our numbers. We are getting students emailing us, hey, I got your email. Can I get a tutoring appointment this day, this time? So it's kind of just been like a targeted outreach for specific classes.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad to hear that it's actually made a difference with your numbers. Do you anticipate expanding usage of the module into other systems now that you're seeing what it's capable of?
We've talked a little bit about it. To give a bit of context, when we started using the email campaign system, we saw it as an opportunity. We were having a conversation about increasing transfer level English and math, and that was our first usage. We just worked up some templates to send out to transfer level math, transfer level English. We saw some responses. We saw some people coming in. We expanded it. We now are sending it out to pretty much every student on campus. Would that be fair to say, Vaughn? Is going to be the plan for spring? Every course, every student's going to get an email specifically saying what tutor is available during the time for their class. As far as expanding it beyond that direct course related, we also use it for some of our events, just to let students know that we have stuff coming up, like we have a study jam, which is a fancy way of saying pizza party with studying. We have that event that we do it on routine. So when we put the announcement out, that usually goes out. We have another event called Study Galore, where some students they're able to get snacks while they study, and they can see tutors that are here maybe outside of their normal hours, or it's a finals cram week thing. So yeah, we do actually do a bit of email campaign like blasting for events as well.
And if I can add on to that, I've started playing around. We hold like workshops that are held by faculty, and we've kind of toyed around the idea of not all of our workshops, but some of them, especially like APA paper, how to format MLA, I can send those to those specific students who may need that, the transfer level English or the transfer level psych classes. So even doing outreach for those workshops as well has been something that we've toyed around with.
And how did you find learning the new module? Because I know it's a fairly new module in academia. Did you find it pretty easy to adapt to?
I think Vaughn jumped in a little bit after me. I was the initial one that tried it out. It was pretty simple. The layout is really easy. The only thing that we had two conflicts when we first started using it. One, not realizing that the groups have limits. So 500 is sort of a limit for spam. We didn't catch that, and it's in the instructions, but we just didn't catch that until we tried to send out a campaign to more than 500 students. So once we got that figured out, then we had one other hiccup where our students use something called 900 numbers. It's their ID number. But since it's 900 number with the hashtag, that hashtag in the coding for the template causes it to look for certain things like keywords. So it basically gave us an error, and we couldn't figure out for the life of us what the problem was. But as far outside of those two small errors that were mostly user error, we implemented it pretty easy. We did love how easy it was to do specific subject areas. That was a no-brainer. Just click a class, tell students for that specific class what service we have. Groups requires a bit more work. We have something called the RISE program, where we have students that hit certain GPA requirements, and they might need a little bit of an extra assistance. So for those students, we have them in a group called RISE, and for the year, and then we can contact those groups specifically too for extra services. All that's really self-explanatory in the system. Getting started was pretty easy. It was just a matter of running a few practice versions with our tutors to see if it worked, and then we just kicked it off.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a really good look at it, at your usage of the system. I'm really glad to see those numbers are rising. Do you have an idea of how much they've gone up since you started using the email campaigns, or have you not had a chance to look at that data to really scrutinize that data yet?
Do you have an estimate, Vaughn? I know we booked an extra 40 appointments out of what we would normally pull in. I'm trying to remember what our total number of normal. Give me one moment. I might be able to find a rough estimate.
Right now, because it's an intersession, it's not like a full semester. It's kind of hard to gauge that. And this in intersession, we decided to increase it from those transfer level maths and English to more subjects that our tutors specifically tutor. That way we're hitting everyone that we possibly could hit. But even so, we've already seen an extra 10, 20 folks that I don't think we would have normally seen without the outreach. Especially
Yeah.
in those non-English and math level classes, we got a lot like computer science, sociology, poli-sci, where we weren't outreaching to them before, like targeted, and we are seeing them emailing saying, "Hey, let's get a tutoring appointment together," and it's usually coinciding right when we send out the email, so we can link the two up. Um, but I don't think we have any solid, like a full semester of data just quite yet.
Sure. Sure.
If
But
if I had to
yeah.
give an estimate,
Mhm.
from what just quick numbers, we would say I'd say about 5 to 10% can be definitively attributed to the email campaigns, and that's not really including people that saw the email and then just came by and never mentioned it.
Right.
But people
Right.
that directly responded to the email, 5 to 10%
I would
increase.
be I would be interested to see if you ran a survey, what that would say. Like what types of response you would get from that in terms of how they heard about or decided to use or why they decided to use your services. Out of curiosity, how big is Antelope Valley?
The campus is around 12,000 to 13,000 students in
So
the
pretty
fall.
large. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a decent size.
Yeah.
And we do smaller in the spring and the intercession, obviously. Intercession's mostly online classes.
Yeah. And so I really like that you focused on specific courses instead of a general tutoring is great. We have tutoring, come see us. Like giving students specific ideas of like what they can get help with when they're in your center. I think that really allows them to see themselves more in your space. Well, that is awesome, and this was some really great information. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we close out?
I don't have any additional comments. Vaughn?
I don't either. Yeah, we've just kind of been
No,
using it to
that's
do
fine.
that targeting, and we're playing around with expanding it with the workshops and with the groups, hopefully soon. So but it's been fairly easy. It's very like plug and play, kind of just intuitive.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been a pleasure, and it's been great, and we really appreciate it, and glad that you're getting a lot out of it. Thank you both so much for sitting down with me today. All right. Thank you for watching that. And of course, thank you to Chaz and Vaughn from Antelope Valley. I have one more person to share their thoughts with you. Julie, do you want me to go ahead and just play the video that we recorded?
Yeah, that's fine with me, Rachel.
All right. Sounds good. Let me go ahead and get that. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I have Julie Rodwanski from the University of Toledo. Julie, thank you so much. I would love to hear more about how your center uses the email campaigns in academia.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, Rachel. We just started using email campaigns in the fall 2025 semester, actually after attending one of the academia talks and hearing more about it. That prompted me to think of how we could use it on our campus. And so we started with just some general outreach of emailing courses that we have tutoring services for. Our center is a drop-in center. We don't have appointments. And we were seeing a little decline in the number of walk-ins. So we wanted to get some outreach out there and let students know that we were here because it was a new space for us as well. We moved up from the basement of our library here on campus. We're in a new space on the first floor, and we wanted students to know that information as well. So we did some targeted messaging to each specific course that we serve to let them know where our space was, what hours were available to them, that we were still walk-in, that nothing about our operations had changed, in hopes that they would start coming in. And they did. We started to see an increase in numbers after those email campaigns went out. And then about halfway through the semester, we added in doing email campaigns for our supplemental instruction program. So our SI coordinator was doing targeted email campaigns about exam review sessions, where the SI sessions are being held, because those were all new locations for us as well. And then as we got into the midterm time of the semester, we do more exam review sessions, even with our content tutoring outside of our supplemental instruction program. So we used email campaigns to reach out to those student populations and let them know when the exam review session was going to be held, the location, and things like that. And all of that did play a good part into generating more usage and higher attendance numbers at those review sessions and just our day-to-day tutoring operations than what we had been seeing.
And do you have any idea of the exact numbers, like in terms of the impact, like a percentage or like the specific increase in visits that you saw?
I don't have the exact number, but what I can say is college algebra is a class we have been doing exam review sessions over the period of about 5 or 6 years or so now. And we had always had around 8 to 10 students that would attend these exam review sessions. But this last fall semester, those went up to having 20 to 25 students in attendance at every exam review session.
That's great. And are you making use of those templates too to make sending those out a little bit easier?
Yes, so I did create templates. I have one for each of the SI sessions. I have a template for exam review sessions, and I have a template that's just the general information about tutoring. So we can send those out now every semester, and it makes the legwork a little easier.
And are you the main person who sends them out, or do you have other folks trained to do it as well?
I send them out for any content tutoring related things, and then Stacy, our SI coordinator, sends the templates out for her supplemental instruction population.
Did you both find it pretty easy to pick up on how to utilize it?
Yeah, it was really user friendly. We had several templates created in the matter of a half an hour. So
Yeah, awesome. Any plans to expand its usage or use it for anything else?
So we are going to have a couple events coming up here. Our first one is next week, and we plan on sending an email campaign out to encourage students to attend our Valentine's Cocoa and Candy Day.
Ooh, that's exciting. Let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
All right, Julie, this has been so great. Thank you so much for sharing this information with me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Hey, now, Rachel, if I can, I'll jump in. And there's something I forgot to mention
Sure.
in that chat we
Sure.
had. We're also using email campaigns when reaching out to hire new tutors or SI leaders. There's a minimum course requirement. So anyone who's currently enrolled in that course gets an email saying, hey, you're about done with this class and you meet the course requirements to become a tutor. If you're interested, here's a link to our job posting.
I love that. That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, does anybody have, I know we're a small group today, but if anybody has any questions for Julie or for Chaz and Vaughn that I belong to them. I also have another quote, another contribution from another user who was not able to meet. So I can just read what they wrote. So this was Anita Ortiz from the University of California, Riverside. Let me turn my camera back on. So not just audio. There we go. All right. So Anita writes, at the ARC, we primarily use email campaigns to communicate upcoming events and important information to students. At the beginning of the academic year, we send an email campaign to introduce students to the ARC, including details about our open house, where we are located, and how to schedule appointments using Accudemia. This initial outreach helps students become familiar with our services and also sets the expectation for receiving future appointment confirmations and reminder emails through Accudemia. We also use email campaigns throughout the quarter to promote special events such as finals week programming and additional academic support opportunities. These campaigns allow us to reach students effectively while ensuring the messaging feels personal, since emails are addressed to students by name rather than using a generic greeting. We found this increases engagement and makes students more receptive to our communications. Overall, we really value the email campaign feature because it helps us build consistent communication with students, increase awareness of our services, and reinforces Accudemia as the primary platform for scheduling and reminders. It's been a great tool for supporting student engagement and ensuring students feel connected to the ARC. And what I love about that quote is that it really shows what we've been thinking for a while. Marketing in general, like, is not my favorite topic. I worked briefly in marketing. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I do know that sending targeted messages to an audience, timely, relevant, um, giving them a specific call to action, is all really helpful. And it's really great to see that a lot of schools are showing are seeing that that's the case, using those email campaigns. All right. Well, thank you everybody for your time today, and we hope to see you at next month's Accudemia session. Take care, everyone.